Welcome, race fans, to episode 19 of Translated's adventure around the world in the Ocean Globe Race. My name is Paul Cayard. I'm here on the beach in front of my home in La Jolla, California, but I'm following Marco and the team on the computer, as I'm sure a lot of you are. They're doing a fantastic job, pushing Penduik hard for the lead. They're coming up on ice waypoint number 3, which is the last ice waypoint in the race. They'll probably go around that on February 1st, and then I predict they'll go around Cape Horn on February 6th. So let's take a look at the tracker to see the route that they've been sailing over the last few days, and then we'll look at the router and see the weather they can expect on their way into Cape Horn. I've rewound the tracker to the 23rd of January just so we can refresh our memories on how everybody got to where they are. Remember, at this point in time, Spirit of Helsinki had gotten themselves in quite a northerly position and found themselves behind, while Tirana and Neptune down here got south of Penduik and Translated and made good gains and were winning on corrected time. Now remember, corrected time is what is really how the race is, the only fair way the race can be scored. So corrected time takes into account the fact that Penduik is 73 feet and Tirana is 53 feet long. So of course Penduik should be going faster, and Penduik owes Tirana a couple hours a day. So at this point in time, Tirana was winning overall, and Helsinki was quite a ways behind. Now they all compressed on this second ice waypoint, and then coming out of the ice waypoint, it was really kind of like the Pied Piper. I mean, at this point, everybody had gotten the memo. Head south, there's better wind, it's a shorter course. So all the boats are nicely lined up. Penduik and Translated are just, it's as if they're tied together with a rope, which is great for Translated because Penduik owes Translated about 40 minutes a day. So, being 7 feet longer. So all good here for our team. They're coming up on the third and final ice waypoint of the whole race. They'll go around it tomorrow on the 1st of February. They're in nice winds, kind of northwesterly winds, so as warm as it can be down there. It's probably not warm, but it's a lot better than a south wind. And things are going real well. So we'll take a look at the router and see what they can expect on their way into the Horn. My starting point for the router is, as always, Translated's position. It's January 31st, and Translated's neck and neck with Penduik here. The pack is following. We've got Helsinki and Maiden as the next couple of boats behind the leaders. They're about 200 miles from the last ice waypoint in this race, and it looks like they'll go around that ice waypoint on the 1st of February. Northerly winds, so that's nice, not too cold, and the track looks pretty good. A little increasing wind here on the 3rd of February, and on the 4th they're moving along okay. Right in front of them is a lot of wind. It's interesting to note how the Andes Mountains, which are very, very tall and extend all the way down to the tip of South America, not only bend the wind, but they compress the wind. And then you can tell by the deeper red color that the wind is stronger here. This is probably about 50 knots of wind, and I think it's a good thing there won't be going around at that time. It would be a bit rough. So that weather looks like it's 2 days in front of them. And then this is more like when they're going to go around. This is Thursday, the 6th of February, coming up on the Horn. They still have good breeze, 30 knots of wind, but it's from behind, and so it's good miles. They'll be going fast. And then they get around and start heading north on the 7th. Now, one interesting thing is that, so these two different lines represent two different weather models. I'm running both the European model and the US model, which is known as the GFS. Interestingly, both models are showing that the fastest way to Punta del Este is to go east of the Falkland Islands. The straight line course, the shortest distance, is on the west side. But, you know, it doesn't really matter what's a shorter distance. We were looking for the shortest amount of time. So that'll be a decision they'll have to make. Now, this is, you know, the 7th. This is more than a week out. So the forecast that we're looking at right now isn't the, you know, the gospel. A lot of things can change over that period of time. But anyway, just having fun moving it forward. We're going outside. We have pretty good breeze here on the 9th. We're reaching. And then we're waiting for the computer to reload. Now we're dealing with a high pressure bubble. Our good old friend high pressure bubble. So that's going to slow things down a little bit on the 10th. And the 11th, the 12th, we got some northeasterlies. And boy, and you know, this is the 13th of February. So we're looking at a 14th arrival, maybe 15th. Right, looking at this right now, 2 weeks out, that's showing really light air, which would be very frustrating. But again, let's not get too worried about that. We'll update that time frame next week when we have more reliable forecast on what's going to happen 12th, 13th, 14th. So from where they are right now down to the Horn, looks like good sailing. It looks like a reasonable rounding of the Horn. I mean, you wouldn't want to drift around the Cape Horn, right? So they'll have 30 knots. They'll feel like they're at the biggest corner on the planet. And it'll be about time for another update by the time they get around the Horn. So that's a wrap on episode 19. The team's doing great. They're coming up on ice waypoint 2. Then it's about 6 days down to Cape Horn. The weather looks good for them. They're making good progress. They'll go around with about 30 knots of wind, which is a good solid rounding of the biggest corner on the planet. And they'll turn left, and every day it'll get about 2 or 3 degrees warmer as they head north to Punta del Este. They'll be thinking about reconnecting with their families, that nice warm shower, a bed that isn't moving, and all the luxuries of terra firma. But they still have 2 weeks to go. So let's keep believing in our humans.